We took over Man United as Ruben Amorim, with one goal to get Man United back to the top. But this was going to be tough, as we finished 15th in the league. However, we did controversially win the Europa League, and that means we've got money to spend on transfers. And we also get to play Champions League football. And now into Season 2, Amorim, he gets a pre-season to work with his team. He can sign the players that he wants that will fit into his system, and he also gets to experiment and try out some new tactics. But wait, it's a message from the board. Congrats on winning the Europa League, but due to past signings, we will only have 35 million to spend. I'm guessing we've still got a lot of debt to pay on some previous big money transfers. And that's a big problem because Amorim had a long list of players he was interested in bringing in. So this means that we're going to have to use our money wisely and also focus on some player sales. Now, Amorim wants to use the sporting tactic 3-4-2-1 and have as a backup a new tactic, a tactic which was actually recommended by you, the 5-4-1. Out of possession, we can have a lot of players behind the ball, and in possession, it actually resembles the 3-4-2-1 of Sporting with the two inside forwards. But the most important position in both of those formations are the wing backs. So Amorim actually wastes no time in bringing in an ex-academy player in Alvaro Carreras. Now, he's seen him play at Benfica in Portugal, and he thinks that he's going to be the perfect fit to create competition with Dorgu at left wing back. And for 27.5 million plus Malacia, Amorim gets his man. But that doesn't leave us with much money in the bank. We are going to have to sell some players. And maybe we can even make some money by loaning out some players. And first to go is a surprise. Collier leaves on loan to Burnley, with Harry Amas going to Eyüpspor and Diego Leon also off to Turkey too. But that doesn't really bring in much money. Our first real sale comes from Luke Shaw. He's leaving to go to Newcastle for a healthy amount of 25 million, I guess to provide a bit of cover for Lewis Hall, who did just have a big injury. And after a great season in Spain, Anthony, maybe we could have got more for him, but he's off to Crystal Palace of all places for 26 million, and that's going to add us a good amount into our budget. Now, there are two key players that are still yet to leave, and they both have obligations and options to buy from their loan. You've guessed it, Rashford and Sancho, and both of them are actually leaving. Sancho going back to Chelsea and Rashford back to Aston Villa, and that is actually going to bring in around 70 million. So now we've got a lot of money to spend. The question is, who should we sign? Because we need a lot of positions. Now, last episode, Amorim made a call to Victor. Hi Victor, it's Ruben. But who was it? Was it Victor Osimhen? Or was it Victor Gyökeres? Well, in truth, Amorim, he had discussions with both Napoli and Sporting, but in each case, they just wanted too much money. So now, we're going to have to find someone cheaper. And since we've done a deal with this club already, it made a lot of sense to mention another name when discussing the deal. And that other name was Jean-Philippe Mateta. He's a proven Premier League striker. He's had a good couple seasons in the Premier League, and it feels about the right time for him to make a step up, I guess, to a bigger club. And hopefully he's going to bring in some much needed goals. And it doesn't cost us too much, so it does mean we have room to improve in some other positions. And we mentioned how important that wing-back position is in Amorim's systems. And let's have it right, Dalot, he's okay, but his attacking output just isn't really good enough. And one thing which is clear from last season is that we need more goals. So Amorim, he's looking through his Portuguese contacts and he finds a wonder kid, a player from Braga, Roger Fernandez. He's fast, dynamic, he's got bags of potential, and he could be a really good option for that right wing back, or actually even higher up the pitch in one of those 10 positions. But these signings have come too early for our first pre-season game against Osasuna, and Højlund has a lot to prove with new striker Mateta ready and waiting. But Højlund continues to struggle. He's going to really have to step it up, as it won't be long before Mateta takes his minutes otherwise. But that's exactly what he does, creating a great chance, and Ahmad buries it. He's back from his injury, and we're excited to see him help United score some much needed goals. Another chance, a new signing Alvaro, he really should be burying that. Although it's good to see him getting so far forward. And Dalot, who was questioned for his attacking output, threads the ball to Xerxes, and he manages to score. And you know what? That's given Amorim a lot to think about. Now, the second pre-season game, and Mateta starts. But this game has got a deeper meaning, as we've actually developed quite the rivalry with Lazio based on the Europa League semi-finals last year. And that's really clear with an awful tackle on Garnacho. And he's gone flying in again, and they're down to 10 men. 10 men in a friendly, what's going on? But unfortunately, United still lacked a spark, and a bad miss from Mateta emphasises that. And against the run of play, the man, he's only gone and done it again. Castellanos, he cannot stop scoring against us. And not long after, tensions rise again, and this time it's Maguire being sent off for an early shower. And with that, Lazio get revenge. Although it's only a friendly, Man United looked less than convincing in their second pre-season game. But before the last pre-season game, there's a new signing to announce. A wonder kid, a cam. Zvera Naipan, highly esteemed and heavily linked with Man United, completes the move, only costing the club 15 million. The fans are excited, but can he make an impact now, or is he going to need a loan move first? And in our last pre-season game, we face a huge challenge. We're up against Spanish giants Barcelona, and Mateta, Dalot and Alvaro start. And it's early on, Alvaro gets down the left and he's been taken out. It's a penalty to Man United, but who's going to take it? And you know what, Bruno does the honourable thing. He gives it to the new signing Mateta, and Mateta repays his trust and he gets his first goal as a Man United player. And with that added confidence, it has him through again and he manages to get the goal. Who would have thought? Man United 2, Barcelona 0. Not what we were expecting, but the squad is showing signs of actually being a decent football club this year. And it's a first glimpse of our new player. Naipan, he's coming on for the last few minutes. And minutes for what looks like a frustrated Chido Obi. I guess he thought he'd see more minutes this season. But to be honest, none of the kids really seem to impress, except for Aiden Heaven, who, with Martinez still out until January, he has a legitimate chance of cementing a place in the squad. And that's it. We won 2-0. It's a nice positive result going into our last game of pre-season, which is the Super Cup final against Real Madrid. But before we get there, Amorim has some unhappy customers. First of all, Chido could not believe he only played 17 minutes the entire pre-season, and he wants Højlund gone. Also, Bayindir didn't see a single minute and was shocked that Anana is still going to be starting over him. So Amorim's got some decisions to make. And as seen in the preseason game, Naipan looks more for the future. Maybe he needs to get a loan, and we really could do with bringing in another attacking threat so that Bruno doesn't have to do all the work. But Amorim also knows that Bayindir is right. Eventually, we are going to need to sign a new goalkeeper. So Amorim talks to the board and asks if he can have more money, but the board declined. No surprise there. So Amorim is forced to look into the academy, and there are 2 keepers, and both of them are absolute giants as well. But who's he gonna pick? He's got to decide between 6'9" Nick Holden or 6'8" Shane Sterling. I mean, who would you guys pick? For Amorim, it's got to be Holden. He's got bags of potential and a few play styles too, and this means that Bayindir can leave, because we've got Vitek still in the ranks as well. And that means we've saved ourselves a few million and maybe bought ourselves a bit of time to maybe scout a new goalkeeper. Maybe we can bring in January or the next season. And now Man United face their toughest test yet against Spanish giants Real Madrid. And their lineup is as strong as ever, with the likes of Bellingham and Jeremy Frimpong on their bench too. This is our starting lineup, and it's clear Mateta's favoured over Højlund. Also, a dynamic duo of both Roger and Ahmad on the right hand side. Can we start our season off with some silverware? Well, the first attack is to Man United, and it's Alvaro on the left. He knocks it back into the danger area, and the first shot's blocked, but the second is right into the corner. Mateta scores another goal, and this time on the big stage. The fans are very excited about the goals that he's going to bring to the team. And it's United again, but Alvaro's shot was tame and Courtois manages to save it. But right now it's all Man United, and Ancelotti's seen enough. Jude Bellingham is coming on. And it's an instant impact as he cuts out the pass and Mbappe's shot finds the back of the net. A few questions over whether Nana could have done better there, but Amorim wastes no time in replying. Xerxes and Ahmad off, Kobe and Garner on. And we create a chance, but I think a foul was given. But the two managers, they're really going for it. Ancelotti now sends on new signing Frimpong, and again Madrid come forward. And this time there's no question. Mbappe unleashes an unsavable strike, and Real Madrid take the lead. It's 2 moments of brilliance from Mbappe, and Madrid now have the advantage. But Kobe demands more. He drives forward with the ball, but Frimpong takes him out. Now that was a bad tackle. Kobe's in a lot of pain and the ref doesn't like it. He gives a straight red. It's not the debut he'd been hoping for. But despite that, United don't have enough and Real Madrid win the Super Cup. A tough loss, but we have to move on, and Amorim has to make some big decisions, and it's actually time for us to say goodbye to a few young attacking talents. Chido, Ethan, Naipan, they're all leaving to go out on loan for the season, and hopefully they'll be able to pick up the experience they need to come back next year and make a difference. And our first game of the new season is against Liverpool, but before then, we're going to need a new spark. We're going to need a number 10, a cam, someone that can attack, create and score goals. And that's why we're about to spend big money on